welcome to a new episode of the Advancing Consciousness series with Franco Di Nicola. This is a place where people can come to gain further insight and clarity as to what is going on and how we can shift things on a personal and global level, while also accessing higher levels of consciousness and awareness. We bring this series to you free of charge so that many are able to access this information. And if you resonate with what Franco shares and you would like to support his work, contributions are welcomed and greatly appreciated. A link is in the description and will be provided in the chat if you feel guided to do so. Also, we have many previous workshops, such as the most recent, Actualizing Beyond Your Current State to Live Your New Reality, along with our membership program, Let's Talk About You, where like-minded people come together bi-weekly to talk about the topics requiring deeper understanding and clarity. All of these are available on Teachable, and we encourage you to check them out as they are great resources at very affordable prices to assist in better understanding this human experience. The Teachable link will also be provided in the chat and description. And lastly, don't forget to share. As more of us are coming together and creating a shift in oneself, the more effective it will be to shift things globally. Thank you for joining us and being part of this change. Enjoy today's broadcast.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Advancing Consciousness series. Sorry for the little technical glitch there. I thought I was on, but unfortunately the audio was not. But anyways, as you can see, the setup is a little different today, and we're doing something a little bit different. And that is only because I want to do a process and I want to use a better setup for it. And since the focus is going to be where I'm not going to be using the board so much today, I figured we do it this way. Yeah, it's good to experiment. This is something I've used in the podcast and so forth. Now, I have to apologize that we keep moving the dates between Tuesday and Thursday, and there's no consistency. The intent is to maintain consistencies on Tuesdays. Unfortunately, there are days where things don't work out the way I intended to. And last Tuesday, as much as I wanted to plan to go through it, and I wrote it right out to the last minute, that it was not happening physically, so we postponed it for today. Today's been an interesting ride too, but here I am, better than I was Tuesday, so we are going to fly with this Tuesday. Now, I am flying solo, so Kimberly's not with me at this time. I am doing this by myself, so I'm going to try to monitor as much as possible, but I cannot assure you 100% that I can keep track of everything that's going on with specifically with the chat / comments and so forth. So at this point in time, I will do what I can and we'll go from there. All right, so as I say in the title, today episode is episode 89, and I think you could see it. It's update and additional activational process to supercharge you. And we'll also deal with some questions and answers at the end. So to give you an update, we'll get into that. First of all, I'd like to also thank everybody for any contributions that you have sent. I really highly appreciate it. It's helped us to make it through the September month. And of course, now we're going into the next month at some point, but we are going to move through it. And also we're in the looking forward to a move, or not looking forward to, looking to arrange something for us to move from this house to someplace else. So we will keep the episodes going for the month of September, and October we will not be airing at this point in time because we will have to take all the set down, and I know I'm going to start taking some of it down already as of next week. But at the same time, we'll be able to continue to stream until the end of the month. And then October, we're to be out of the house between, the middle of the month and the latest, the 24th. So that means we'll have to take down things. And of course, I've got a lot of holes and things to patch up because of the fact that I hung sound barriers and screens, and we put up a brick wall, which we'll have to take down. And so there's a few things that I need to do. And plus we have some sound, floor sound stuff we have to remove. So at this point, we have no place to go yet. We're still works, and we'll see what our highest aspect, as we all have these beautiful higher aspects of ourselves, will lead us into something profound or amazing in one way or another. So let's get started, and let's take a look at some of the things that are playing out. And I just want to, if you're new, to reach more people, please share, share, like, comment, subscribe, and click the notification bell if you are on YouTube. If not, then, whatever notification you can get. I don't know where all of this stuff is aware. But anyways, we create this content for you to assist you, but you're assisting yourself. All we're doing is triggering your memories of what you already know within yourself, because you're all powerful beings. Okay, regarding the update, here we are in September, and as you can tell, there's a lot brewing. Now, besides the really powerful energies that are coming through, and then we have a couple of interesting bursts on the 11th and the 21st, or 22nd actually, which will create some catalytic changes, but we are really stepping things up. So many of us that are very sensitive energetically and have a lot of trigger points and may have a lot of emotional stuff locked into our cells, our bodies, into our archives of memory in the subconscious mind of some sort, are going to feel that coming up. You're also going to see that there are little changes and blips and oopses and so forth going on within the matrix itself. But what it is really, it's your reality, is what you're projecting, because you are shifting in bandwidth. And as that's happening, you will see certain things play out, which may materialize and then disappear later at this point in time, or you'll see things changing in such a profound way. There are many, many, many differences that you're going to feel. Now, with all these powerful waves coming in, they're not supposed to be painful, but at times we do have some pretty powerful stuff locked in that hold on to some really intense energies, and that's going to come through. Now, what you're going to notice, it's going to move through you very quickly unless you start to identify with it as much as possible. Now, one of the things that is very instrumental for us at this point in time is to breathe and move through it. We need to maintain a certain level of fluidity with whatever's playing out, whatever's moving through you, because that way it moves through you without having intensities really taking you down or creating such intensities that are very difficult to handle. Now, we are still in charge of how much we flow through us, but then we have a higher aspect of ourselves that is really pushing us very hard to move forward, because a lot of us get caught up in the ego patterns and programs and energies that want to slow things down, want to hold on to things, which are basically, at this point in time, we've made a very powerful commitment not to do so. Now, if we have to catch our breath at certain points, great, we will do that. But that's not, a point where you say, okay, I'm going to stop for a long period of time. If you do, you will find the nudging will be very powerful. So with these other energies coming in, as we're going into the 11th and 22nd at this point in time, they're going to be step-ups. You're going to change in a step of what you call another level of the organic matrix and another level of your operating system. Now, how much of it you will notice certain things will feel very different for you, or different enough to notice it. You're also going to notice that things, no matter what is playing out, is going to be less of a hook for you. And those are the two different stages. Of course, there's a powerful band that's happening between the 11th and 22nd. So that's really us stepping into allowing those things to move through us at this point in time. And I say move through us because that's what it's for. It's to move through us. I'm just going to check the audio here to see if I can crank her up a bit, just in case if you don't hear me very well. Okay, so I am using a different mic setup, so I just wanted to check the monitors here. Anyways, as we going along, you're going to notice right now there is a very strong push from the inverted 3D, the inverted systems around us. This could be government, medical systems, and so forth. it's going to feel that you're getting more and more trapped. It's going to feel that you're being projected and we are put into so-called illusionary jail. And that jail that we are feeling at this point in time is really the system trying to keep you at bay. Now, the ego can really grab that and go on a field day with that, because it can start to make it real. And when I say make it real, it makes us believe that we are subjugated with the systems around us. We're subjugated by any illusionary authorities of sort, and the fact that we do not have a say in the matter, that we are not able to exercise our free will. That is the AI, artificial intelligence, that has been learning and been working very much so with the energies that have been going on when we were dealing with the inverted matrix that was being streamed. Now, that's not happening anymore. We're no longer being streamed. We're no longer have an inverted matrix, but we have an organic matrix that actually will mimic that to the degree we required as we're going through the changes ourselves. Now, with all of these intensities coming in, all of these restrictions that are coming in, it now is a powerful call for you to be you, truly you, and to step up and be that empowered being that you are. And you are also full access to your own sovereignty and your own free will. It doesn't matter how much of it has been coerced in you to feel that you do not have it, or that you are only to play in a certain range or band width of some sort, or a range that you only have so much access at this point in time, when it's not really the case. We have way more. So now it's about stepping into it. So the compliance is up to us. It is up to us to not be in the fear state and to see that how something else has power to you, because that is only a projection that you are the only one that can allow to enter and to take an impact on you. Because if you do not agree to comply, you no longer, and I'm not talking about it through fear or fight mode, because this is what a lot of people relate to, is that we have to fight the system. We have to, somehow push it out or hate it or something of that nature. It doesn't work very well in that particular case. It's a matter of you in your empowered state saying, no, I am not complying. I'm not choosing to support this in any way, shape, or form. This requires you to access the highest frequency within yourself, because we all have a range of frequency that we can adjust according to. So as we increase our frequency by our state of being and more fluidity and accessing more of ourselves, our frequency band goes up. You go to the higher range, and in that higher range, you're accessing more of that self-empowerment, more of that so-called sovereignty, free will, and with that knowing that this is a game, whatever we're seeing is there, but we do not need to give it power. Now, of course, all of us have a default that has played in the power struggle, what they call power struggles, where we've seen ourselves powerless, and that the fact that external powers have a power over us. That was kind of a conditioning and program, and yes, we've adopted it. Yes, we, kind of played with it along the way, and we made it very real. We, in that adoption, we kind of plugged it into our reality, but that's all reversing. And that's part of the energies that are coming in right now for basically the month of September and October. September and October is very pinnacle. Now, there is some stuff in November that is still in finalization. And then, of course, December, the way it's intended right now, we are intending very powerfully to create another level of shift so that all of these structures and so forth that have been imposing will not have the same capacities. Now, the beauty of all of this is that we individually can navigate ourselves, navigate our reality, and also be a powerful facilitators on what we are experiencing collectively. However, collectively, we have to honor that everybody's going to be in whatever stages they are. Now, if you feel guided to share anything, share it with love. Do not share it with judgment or the fact that you need to fix somebody, because there's nobody to fix. There's no one that you need to change in any way, shape, or form. You're just reminding them what they already know. And because of the game that they've been playing, they may not recognize it at first, but they will along the way. So this is the thing. So a lot of the nudging right now, energetically, yes, it may be coming from our sun. Yes, it's coming from our inner earth. Yes, it's coming from our galaxy. Yes, it's coming from our universe, but it's also coming through us, each and every individual part of us that have decided to become a powerful conduit. And that is what it is. Now, there are different energies of polarity still active to some degree on this particular playground. Of course, the ones that are keeping the old regime, the old way of playing the game, is getting weaker and weaker every day and is getting less and less. And the ones that are choosing to really have chosen to play a very powerful active role are getting stronger and more powerful, and there are more of us becoming more and more online. This is why there's a higher questioning of things. This is why people are gathering and making a powerful statement that we are no longer accepting whatever the rules and mandates and so forth that are being presented, because of the fact that we are turning ourselves back on and realizing that everything that we've understood, that we are under the subject of whatever leadership is there, in fact, we're coming to the realization we are the designers. We are the ones that design and shape every part of our reality, each step of the way. It is not outside of us in any way, shape, or form. And we are the ones that give the instructions to the different role players. Now, you're going to find as the energies increase, as the instructions become much stronger, you're going to find ones that have designed and agreed to play very low roles will step down, dissolve, or really not be in the forefront any longer. Now, we are also seeing very accentuated incoherence. We're seeing very accentuated instability. We're also seeing very polarized, but also flip-flopping and so forth from the different role players that have kind of saying that we are the ones that are controlling every part of it. But the thing is, you're going to realize as you're looking at all of this right now is that the reason all of that's going on and the reason there is more push of all of this stuff coming into play and more restrictions and more documentation or controlling electronically and otherwise, and also through various jabbications and whatever else are going on, that is really for us to get into stepping into our own selves and saying no, to get into that empowered state. Now, this is not a waiting game that everybody has kind of believed that we have to wait for the next wave. We got to wait for the next change. We got to wait for the new person to step into power. All of that stuff. It is not a waiting game. This is the illusionary part. Right now, any role player, doesn't matter what part of the country you are, what so-called leaders or whatever else is coming into play, there's none of them that are in a position to say, I'm ready to unpack fifth dimensional consciousness. They may be different degrees of that inverted matrix that is still playing out with a little taste of some organic 3D. But in general, that's not the case. The true path makers, or whatever you want to call it, the ones that are shaping this, is really us. And then there are going to be groups that are coming together, and that's already being arranged, where they will kind of work with us to kind of step things in the right direction and kind of hold our space as we're going along. But it's not about them stepping our ground, including our brother sister souls, because a lot of people still have this idea that our brother, sister souls, what we call aliens, or whatever you want to call it, that they're going to step in and they're going to fix everything. They are not allowed to do so because there is a natural law where we do not impede in growth, impede in self-discovery, impede in self-empowerment, impede in self-discovery of their sourceness, their essence of who they are. Because that impedance will dwarf what the whole purpose of this beautiful playground and all of us in these seventh generation of humanoids that are here, that are very specific in what we are playing out right now. So, and this is the newest species or the newest generation or series that you want to call it, that we are in. Now, yes, we've had a lot that has kind of altered and reduced our capacities and so forth, but that capacity is now coming back online more and more. We are bringing forth more powerful beings in ourselves. Now, there are several games we can play. There is the game, if we're looking at it, we have the game that we wait for the systems to change, for us to experience change, or that we step into change step by step, what we feel guided to do. And the guidance is again another thing of not waiting it for the guidance to kind of shove you. It's a matter of feeling what seems most natural, most aligned for you, and flowing with that. That's how it actually works when we're looking at how all of this unfolds. Now, so regarding the updates, we have intention to get a lot done in September, October. November again has got another different stage to it, and then be at a position with full intention to go into another level to prepare us at this point in time, which will loosen up some of the restrictions. Again, nothing is firm because there is no fixed timeline. There is a projected intent, a projected layout pattern that is always fluid and changing at all times. So it's not like we depend on this to come and I'll sit back or whatever it is. No, we are working action. We are already very active in what we need to do. And when I say we, that means everybody, extras and active role players. It's not about just the active role players. It's not about just the ones in or organic made a commitment for organic 5D or organic 3D. All of it is all part and parcel. So when we're looking at all of this, we understand that we have a resident pattern that we've set up for ourselves, or home base that is organic 5D, a home base of organic 3D, which dwells on all of the fronts for a period of time. And that is to be wrapped up with our full intention by the end of 2022 before stepping into 2023. Now, there is some discussion that 2023 may have some additional inputs in there that will prepare us even further to step into 2024. But that is kind of something in discussion, and when I say discussion, it's our highest aspects of ourselves that have agreed to be in those talks, to be involved in whatever is being organized at this point in time. Now, nothing's being organized outside of us. We may not be consciously aware of it on a, say, conscious state, but we are aware of it in a super conscious state. Now, some of these upgrades that we're experiencing is also retuning, refining our bodies. And because we are going to shift into a higher connection to Gaia, we need to open up the channels for Gaia. So there's adjustments in that area. And at the same time, we're also going through adjustments when it comes to the, the bringing back into alignment or true state of what we call at this point in time, how can I say it, our back online, our DNA. our DNA strands, which when we do so, we will experience an upgrade in our genetics, upgrade in also consciousness, and also be able to harness other capacities that are aligned with all the different species that were contributors. So I'm just going to shift screen here for a moment. I just want to check to make sure that everything is kosher regarding, let's see here. All right. Okay, so it looks like everything is streaming properly. I'm just going to check YouTube and everything is good there. All right, fantastic. It's a little more difficult when you're doing everything alone and monitoring several screens here. Okay, so that's the update at this point in time. Now, I wanted to add a few more pieces to that. A lot of people are concerned that the fact that we're going so far over that we are not able to reverse any part of the process of what's going on with these restrictions. We've made provisions, we mean all parts of us, including our brother sister souls that are working hand in hand with us, to make sure that we do not go across a certain threshold that we cannot reverse. Now, our brother sister souls are committed to assist us without impeding us. Therefore, they will only do absolutely what will serve us at this point in time so that we do not cross that threshold. We do not create an environment where we compromise ourselves so much that we become extinct or anything of that nature. Now, there's going to be illusionary false flags going to be brought up, and these false flags could be another war, it could be stimulation in certain parts of the world where it's going to be some civil unrest and so forth, but that is just basically what they call false flags. Is just projected. It is illusionary, even though there may be certain parts that look very real wherever they are. And again, the participants in those areas are choosing to participate and are choosing to play whatever role. They are always protected in the sense, self-protected, of course, not to wipe themselves out. But if they do drop their physicalities, they will have the option to drop into an extra. They have the option to just leave and not take on another physicality for a period of time. All of that is made available for each of the souls. Now, some of the souls and some of the human entities, they're only playing a certain part and then they're fine to leave and not to continue to support all those other components of feeling that in one way or another, I need to come back or play a different role and so forth. So, are we on the right track is one of the main things that people tend to ask. We're on the move, absolutely. We're moving to the degree that we can handle while allowing all other aspects of ourselves to come back online to the degree that we're prepared to do so. It is also giving us the opportunity to reach a saturation point with that inverted world, the inverted 3D, 2D state of being. It's giving us an opportunity to kind of learn how to navigate for the first time for many of us, navigate this playground where you are self-empowered, where you are able to use your own self-navigation and also your free will freely. The free will has always been there, but we've always kind of given the opportunity for the free will to be guided. So we basically adopted the idea that the free will was outside of us when it was really always ours. These are some of the things. So a lot of the staging is helping us to do that in a very powerful way. Now, while all of this is happening, we are accessing higher and higher consciousness. Not only is our body, our emotional bodies, our energetic bodies, we're also upgrading our souls. And when I say upgrading our souls are accessing higher dimensional consciousness at the same time. So as our human entity is able to bring forth more of its awareness of this human journey and bring more of that original 5,000 years when it was in its organic state to the forefront, of course, dealing with also the upgrades. So this is why we'll notice a lot of the memories. Now, we'll also notice some of the bodies that our bodies are going to feel a little bit more sensitive to energies around us, are going to feel a little bit more sensitive to what we consume. And that consumption can be liquids, can be solids as food, but also as media, what we consume through interactions with others also. So we're going to feel where we will and will not be so drawn to consuming what we were consuming, exposed to what we were exposed to, and to connect with certain individuals and so forth. Now, that is a natural progression that we're doing right now because that's going to raise our vibration, and ultimately we'll be able to go into higher frequencies. Now, part of the stimulation we're getting is raising our frequencies, going into the higher range, and then of course you're going to find that certain are no longer going to match you at this point in time. Now, I know some people say, well, an organic vegan or, fruitarian or breatharian or sun-gazing diet of sorts is much more conducive for us moving. That is true when you're ready for it. You're going to notice certain things are going to change, and you may find that not through a judgment, you're going to find it through what feels for you and how the body responds. Because remember, your body will also communicate through you, not only because of the innate consciousness of your body and all its access point, but also your multidimensional soul and your human entity will also communicate through your body when necessary, because we may not be listening to the thought forms or the dialogue that we may be receiving, or the awareness that we are receiving that we need to shift. So some of you will find that the digesting, consuming certain foods are going to get more and more difficult. This is again going to be accentuated even further in September, October, November, December. And of course, going into the new year, it's going to be interesting. That's all I can say at this point in time. But we're going to have a lot of fun because all of this here is a beautiful dive and sprint that we're doing in a sense of moving forward in a very powerful way. So to give you the update, basically is that, we are in motion. We are progressing at a very rapid rate. Of course, we're going to see a lot of things that may kind of distract us or attempt to distract us to kind of look like we're not moving forward, and the fact that things are getting worse. But, when you tap into yourself very powerfully, you're going to notice that that's not the case. You're seeing that all of this is changing. Now, if you even observe the media, for example, maybe the mainstream media may not be a reflection at this point in time, because that's kind of the case right now. They're still very selective of where they put in their focus because they're loyal to that inverted 3D and so forth. Now, that loyalty may look like they're going through the polarized stuff, which is absolutely true, through the inverted stuff, yes, absolutely true, but loyalty is to you, because more accentuation of that, you're going to notice that you're going to shift away from it more powerfully. So it's not about saying, I'm going to shift away from the mainstream to the alternative, because there's a lot of stuff in the alternative that's skewed big time, and then there's stuff that's very accurate. You're going to have to navigate. You're going to have to kind of see what resonates for you, what makes the most resonance or matches your awareness, and then use that. Now, you have to understand, everything that you're going to receive has to trigger your memory. It's like, yes, I remember, rather than say, oh yeah, what I feel is wrong, what they're saying is correct. It's not the way it works. Let me say this again. The alternative or anything of that nature, including what I'm saying right now, and what this episode and all the other stuff I've been putting out there, and others around the world, including yourselves that are being active in this, we are triggering our own knowing within ourselves. We have to discern for ourselves what we're ready to access and what we are ready to use. You do not discount what you know. Now, of course, we're going to start discounting more and more what the ego likes to generate. The ego is very much in polarity, very much in judgment, and it very much likes to create stories that accentuate polarities, good, bad, right, wrong, and all of that stuff, where the intuitive knowing is that that is alignment, that is accurate, that is not. I will take those parts of it and I'm going to stimulate my own knowing. That's what you're doing. You're stimulating your own knowing. It's not outside of you, because we all source, we all are creators, we all have that access within ourselves. Doesn't matter what anybody's projected otherwise, or what we have collectively chosen to, and so forth. Even our brother sister souls that have used high advanced technologies and have impeded, what looks like impeded in our journey at this point in time to kind of push us into that inverted world, they are there also to advance consciousness. Not maybe specifically what the original intent was, but when you look at the big picture, it's still all about that. It's never been outside of us. This is the part we want to understand very, very clearly, because none of it is outside of us and never has been. Okay, so here we are, planet Earth, which is our playground. We've all chosen to be here. We all have the freedom how we play here. If we're going to, focus on the platform of organic 5D, we're going to focus our program or our platform in organic 3D. Are we going to play with whatever it is? But at the same time, while we're on the playground here, okay, we have the full freedom of how much we're going to give value to the old systems that are collapsing and bring forth the new stuff that you have already within you. Now, you also have the freedom to come and go. It's not outside of you. It's never has been. You're not hostage. I know a lot of people have talked about that we're hostage, that we are in a recycle program. Yes, part of that did exist. Absolutely. Have we ever been hostage? No. We allowed ourselves to be feeling and buy into the idea of hostage, being a hostage, only to have that experience and so forth. We are free to leave. We are free to shift bodies if you need to. Now, the part that usually is the one, I want to shift bodies, is usually the ego. So that doesn't work, because the ego itself basically is anchored to this physicality, because it operates within what we call the left brain, which is the computing process of ourselves, which actually takes information from various resources from our right brain, and then the left brain actually creates the reality. So the operating system is in there. Now that operating system is also breaking down. That operating system is also losing its grip. And you've noticed that for a lot of you, it's gotten quieter. In some cases, it's gotten louder because of the fact that it's in the fight mode, because that's what it knows best. And it's going to dig up anything and everything. It's going to bring up your past. It's going to bring up all your so-called labels and definitions of yourself that you may have, taken on from previous lives, from the lineage, from this life. Things that have happened to us. This is what I say at this point in time. All that exists right now is now. Whatever played out before served wherever you were before. All the labels, definitions, and so forth, that you're good, not good enough, this or that, whatever it is, that I am such and such, or that I did this or I didn't do that. Any of that stuff is no longer to be used right now if you really want to move forward and you want to be in that empowered state. Because for you to be present, when I say present, because there is you can live in the moment. True moment, meaning that in the moment, you're not dragging any of the past, you're not projecting any of the future. You're just present, seeing what's there, use your highest consciousness and go on. It's not going to be in the moment, bringing and recreating the past. Many of us do that, and we're saying, well, I'm in the moment, I am being present, but we're still using our past memories and so forth, and the ego itself to kind of infiltrate and be part of this present moment. So that's kind of the understanding we need to have, is that the present moment is now. What is my playground? What do I have here? And if you see that the ego is trying to interject, plug in, push through, or whatever it is, a story, a narrative, an idea of what happened, didn't happen, who's doing what, who's not doing what, look at on the screen, look at the world, look at what's going on. That's what it's going to do. But in the moment, you're going to look at your environment and say, okay, how do I play a role here? How do I shape it using my highest state of consciousness, my highest state of beingness, rather than anything else? So there's a big difference in all of that compared to what we've been playing up to this point in time. So, all right, guys. I'm sure you made it through all this update stuff. So, is it going to get better? It's getting better. It's already what it is. You know, it may not look like that on the surface, but it's really us unpacking every part of it. You know, a lot of people talk about the new world versus the old world and so forth. Where's the new world? The world's here. The new world is the new platforms. But the new world has to be unpacked. It's unpacked by who? By us, each one of us. And even though you may have extras around us, which are basically non-active, they are playing a role also. They are playing a role to assist us. And they can shift into an active role at any point in time because there are many, many souls that would love to drop in. And there are many moving around, reshuffling, and new drop-ins, others dropping out, ones that have never had one for a while are dropping in. You know, there's all types of exchanges that are going in right now. And I know some people have talked about that, you know, we're on a major changeover at this point in time. And there is a level of truth to that, absolutely. To what impact, to what degree, is really for us to decide as we go along. Now, with all this changes that are going on right now with, you know, the upgrades of different human entities and upgrades within multidimensional souls, upgrades, swapping, stepping in and out, creating openings for temporary visitations and so forth. Each and every adjustment that happens stimulates more of these changes that happen collectively. Each one that comes in carries a really powerful energetic change. Now, okay, so I think we'll get into the next part is I want to talk about the other areas before we go into the activation process that I've said that we're going to be doing. Now, I know there's a lot of narratives right now. There's a lot of narratives that what's going on in the world. There are a lot of dark forces, dark energies. There are a lot of manipulation. There is a lot going on with our operating system, our world, all the systems and so forth. This deals with governmental, with the medical, with the education, with the monetary. It's on the energetics and so forth. It's also what's playing out here with the different structures and so forth, and a lot of accentuated separation and so forth that's going on. And I know there's a lot of conversation about the fact that we need to fight the systems. We got to make it known that we are not going to comply. Yes, I understand that part, that we choose not to comply. Okay, there's powerful ways to do it, and then there's the harder way. And a lot of us to go into the harder way only because we're more familiar with it, and the ego likes to project that. But the whole idea of fight and flight, or the fact that in some way we need to survive, we need to protect ourselves, and well, that's all illusionary, and that's only stimulates the polarity, separation, and the lower energies within ourselves. Yes, okay, granted, it still serves to a certain degree, but it's up to us how we're going to use it and what we're going to do with it, right? So with all of that said, at this point of what is going on with all of this structure, there's a lot of talk saying, well, we need to gather. True, if you feel guided to do so, you gather. You let it be known that you're not complying. Let it be known that they have no say in the matter. That in one way or another, we are the one that chooses how we unpack our journey forward. Yes, we're not, as much as people say we want to go back to the norm. There is no norm because we are not in an environment we can call normal. We're in an environment of unpacking. We're in an environment of advancement. We're in an environment where we're creating everything brand new each step of the way. So you can't say, well, this is norm. The norm is non-norm. The norm is movement, expansion, growth, self-realization, upgrading every facet. That's the norm. And that's going to reflect changes all the time. No consistency. The only consistency is movement, for sure, fluidity, and whatever else. So with that understanding, as we're going forward in whatever we're playing out with right now, we have to understand, if you feel guided to make the statement that we are not cooperating and so forth, you do it with love, with an empowered state, not in a fight state, not as a victim. Because in any form of fighting, there are victim and victimizer, and a lot of times the roles can switch back and forth. That is not empowering, that is disempowering, especially if you become a victim. But if you become a victimizer, you're disempowered also, because there's always the oppressor and the oppression. Oppressor and the oppressed. That's the word I'm looking for. So, and that's, as much as that is playing out, that's not really the way it needs to work out. So the statement you make is first and foremost within you. You choose to shape your reality. You choose to make your own choice. You connect with others to remind each other to do so. That we are not a victim. We are not restricted. That there is nothing that has power over us. All illusionary projections that we bought into and played. If you look at the media, you look at everything that's going on, it is trying to convince us that, we are victims, that we're subjugated, that we are subjects of experiment, subjects of whatever some authority or dictatorship has power. There is no hierarchy. Never has been, never will be. However, in saying that, there is the idea that there is hierarchy. There is the illusion, smoke and mirrors, whatever it is, of hierarchy. The fact that we are in charge of you. We can do whatever to you. You have no say. All illusionary, all projected. That's an offering. It's up to us to take that in, believe it, and create the reality that matches it. But we're coming to that realization more and more every day. It's not outside of us. We're realizing it in a very powerful way. This is the part that we need to understand, and we are understanding it more and more. So, as I was saying, it's not about fighting or flighting or anything of that nature. We're no longer victims, or we never have been, but we've taken on the role and believe that we're a victim, or that we have to switch over to be the victimizer. We're not here to get anybody. We have to understand we're all equals. We're all just playing roles. We're all creating certain circumstances, scenarios for growth, expansion, and so forth, even though we got into the stuck state for 10,000 years in an inverted matrix, an inverted world, and it doesn't matter who and what was activated accordingly. There are beings here that are leaving and have been leaving for a while that are very low vibration. The ones that are super low are gone. The ones that are not super low yet are leaving, and only because they're not supported. There's still others that are still here and still pushing it, even though they have a very, very low capacity of really dictating. And this is why a lot of the media and all of that stuff is being used to kind of make us believe and to comply along the way. And the idea that you don't have freedom, that you can't do this or that, because unless you get jabicated, unless you get a passport, unless you get this or that, that's only a projection, because no one has actually power over you, and that is what more and more people are realizing, because once you realize it, then everything fades away. It's kind of a house of cards, like people like to refer it to. Anyways, so the other option is, at this point, is to access our higher aspect. We're basically looking into connecting with our true pure self. What is our true pure self? First of all, we are multidimensional, we're infinite, immortal, and we are a creator. We are a creator, we're our own creation, we're the observer creation as a feedback, and create and adjust and modify, do whatever we choose at this point in time, and we observe. Okay, as creators, we do what we do best. We create, we advance through these experiences and so forth. But it's not only that. We operate through pure love, where pure love sees everything is equal, sees everything as just a game, sees everything in a very powerful, loving way, where there is no room for separation, no room for polarization, because it does not exist. Okay, we are all one. We are source itself. Even though we have created a fragmentation which is still within the field, so it's not even separate, half of your sourceness became spirit. Half of that sourceness that we call spirit is source in creation, source in exploration, source in self-observation. And then the source that didn't, the source part that is the foundation and the base field that we're in, that's the part that actually holds the space, the platform for us to create multiple, well, billions of universes, galaxies, planets, representation in physical form and non-physical form. Some forms are more rigid, some forms are less rigid. We are looking at dimensional consciousness. We are in densities. There's a lot of different things that are going on, and they're being experienced. So as much as we went through the process of expanding, we're now going into the contraction, and the contraction is completion and retooling itself to be able to create new realms of it along the way. So we're in that process, or progress and work, I guess, work in progress, whatever, something of that nature. But that's what we are going through right now. Okay, so what we're looking at is that we can fight the system, we can see it as being oppressed, we can see it as being wronged, we can see it that in fact that we have to comply to others, to comply to our family, or whatever it is, to be accepted or to be able to have that freedom. If you want to have true freedom, you have to experience the freedom within yourself first. Okay, how do you do that? How do you feel freedom within yourself? Well, the freedom is accepted within you when you access and recognize that you are free. Okay, so part of the process we're going to do, we're going to re-stimulate, reactivate in an upgraded version of that understanding and knowing. So, because we're going into some pretty powerful stuff as we're playing along the way here, I am providing you, assisting you together, we're doing this together, for a specific activation process that will be used by you to stimulate more of you. Now, of course, you don't have to have the process to stimulate you, but it does help, and this is why you're here. This is why we're creating this, because it will facilitate you. The more you repeat it, the more powerful it gets, because what it does, dissolves the layers of illusionary sleep state, illusionary unconscious state, or meaning the veil have blocked us to these recognitions of ourselves. And also at the same time, you do it, it upgrades you so that you're allowing more of those higher consciousness, higher energies, higher vibration frequencies to be stimulated within yourself. Because the thing is, more that you're self-empowered, more that you're turned back on to your pure, true state, you will notice that it doesn't matter what is around you, what is going around you. It does not have the same impact. In fact, that you are the one that's impacting the scenery around you, your reality, your immediate reality, your different levels of extended realities around you at the same time, and what we call the collective reality. And that collective reality does not only step in, or stop, let's put it that way, stop in whatever community you're in, or country that you're in, or planet that you're in. It also affects the solar system and the quadrant of the galaxy, and then the full galaxy, and so forth. Okay, so it's impactful on so many, many levels. Because of where we're connected, what our role ultimately is at this point in time, it may seem like we have a lot of pressure on us to really step up the game of sorts, if you want to call it that. But at the same time, we're very capable of. And if you get to a point you're not capable of, there's several things that can happen. You can upgrade your soul, and that will be decided along the way collectively within yourself, basically. You can upgrade your human entity. You can also step up the innate consciousness of the body and so forth, so that you are able to play a much more powerful active role. Many of us are going through that already, so it's not outside of us at this point in time, because we are already going through it right now. It's not something we have to wait for. Excuse me. It's not something you have to wait for. It is already occurring. While we're doing that, we're going to access and harness much of the energies that are being provided for us, much of the energies and so forth that are playing out right now to really facilitate us. Now, I know, I just want to clarify, the energies that are being streamed, we've called upon it. We have absolute freedom of how much of it to flow through us. How much of us are we going to use as part of the conduit? How much of it are we going to use to change, upgrade ourselves? How much of it we are going to, I don't say resist, but deflect until we're ready for the next stage. I mean, we've all, to one degree or another, want to push things forward, even if you're choosing to say, I want to be in the old polarized part of me. But at this point in time, even that being the case, the energies are facilitating to accentuate those polarities in the dark light, right, wrong, good, bad, and all of that stuff anyways, so that it still facilitates. So many of us, I say us, meaning, out of the playmates that are on the playground here, there are many that are, at this point in time, only here to play out this last of polarity game and then leave. But at the same time, they're giving themselves the opportunity to be involved to the degree that we all collectively agree to have them play a very negative polarized role. Now, there are many that have said, okay, I didn't get my saturation point with my old self, so this is another opportunity that's going on. So if you still are holding on to your old self, and whatever is around you, that's part of what the saturation point. And what happens to the saturation point? Saturation point, you get to the point where you are no longer open to bring those variants or polarized, or a lot of people call it negative energies and so forth, disempowerment, victimization and stuff. So you're saturating yourself as the victimizer before you turn it off. You can blow it off completely like this. You're able to do many things accordingly because of that. So the saturation point, and then the stimulation and reactivating yourself. Now, there are many of us that have, in one way or another, allowed a lot of strong energies to come through it, especially in the initiation component of when we're starting to move through. Some have imploded of sorts at that point because the integration into the body was not fully done. And so they'll be coming back online, and some of them have already started to come back online. So some people may have disappeared for a while. Now, the disappearance could be because they finished their role and they only came in to bring in a certain part. The other part of it is they're kind of giving themselves the opportunity to integrate and let the energies move through them, so that they're not so present in your environment or in mainstream stuff. I don't mean by the mainstream media of sorts, but the social medias and so forth that we're accustomed to make as part of our life. Now, one of the things that is going on, and which we're going to do with the activational process at this point, is to flow with life. Okay, we've over the years we've come to the point where we got conditioned and programmed and accepted full-hearted that we need to control. Okay, but we are in control. But there's two types of control. There's the control that is ego-based, mind-based, the polarized base, the right, wrong, good, bad, base, and then there is the control of the designer, creator, and the created observing of creation and adjusting accordingly. And also that part of it is also at this point in time as what we can call the controller, because there's really not much in control, but in a sense is navigating and shifting every part of it so that it actually becomes much more clearly the different directions it's going to go and whatever else is going to play out. So as much as we are in control, it's the old form of control. Okay. Now, many of us have taken on various roles. You may be a parent, you may be a sibling, you may be, a child, you may, have some position in the game of life here at this point in time, and we feel that we have to control. We have to control ourselves. We got to control others. We got to control the situations and so forth. We got to control other playmates that we are within ourselves. That is again the inverted 3D world and 2D world, but it does not apply in organic 3D and organic 5D. What does that mean? That means that you allow every aspect of yourself, doesn't matter the age, what the roles that they're playing, to be themselves. Now, there's going to be interactions, but the fact is you're going to notice if you're trying to control an individual, you're trying to control a child, you're trying to control other people, you're trying to control family, you're trying to control any part of anything, that it's going to become more and more difficult. It's going to be much more uncomfortable for you for the very reason that in one way or another, it's about letting go of that version of control. And I see that version of control. It is the polarized, what we call ego programmed version of control. The other part of control is knowing within yourself that you are navigating every part of it. It doesn't even require control because it's already natural to you. We kind of abandoned the natural one and went to the unnatural one, and the unnatural one was great for the experience, but we're going back to that natural part of it. I know a lot of you are putting a lot of energy and fear about, what's going on for various individuals in your life. Could be significant others, could be children, could be, can be family members and so forth. And I know a lot of the offerings are there and many are stepping up and kind of accepting whatever's being offered, but they are playing their role and you have to respect and honor their journey. What ends up happening at this point in time, as we go along, we are fully still in charge, as much as we may not be consciously aware of it, where we know it inside, how anything that we are exposed to will play a role, affect us, or anything of that nature, according to how it will serve us, and then we're the ones. Now, the serving to us has several layers. There's the serving to you, particularly personally. There's the service to others that are in your environment, in your playground, or you're interacting with, and so forth. But it's also of service within your community and from to a level of what we call the collective, and the different levels of collective. But let's stick to the first level of collective, which is all the beautiful playmates that we have on the playground on planet Earth. Okay. So, in saying all of that, when we are in our truer, pure, higher state of self, our self-empowerment really steps up. And then it doesn't matter what's going on, we see it for what it is. It's an offering and an opportunity, which we can turn on, turn off, accept, not accept, but never with judgment, never with good, bad, right, wrong. It's not about, oh, they're cheating us, they're lying to us, this is dangerous or anything like that. No, it doesn't align, does not match, and I dissolve it. I do not participate. I do not consent. I do not do any of that part. But that is coming from a loving, powerful state of self-empowerment, no longer a victim. You are not a victimizer or a victim. You are self-empowered. Very different scenario. Very different experience. Yes, for sure. All right. I think I covered everything I wanted to cover in the preparation for the activation meditation or activation process that we're going to do. I called it activational process because that's what it is. It is activational. I think when I was, my spell check was saying no such word. I'm sure there is that word, and if not, it is included in my new version of words that I've added on. But anyways, all right, guys. So we're going to take a minute or so to make yourself comfortable. Meanwhile, I will check the other screens quickly to double check to see if we're still online. And what we're going to do is, anyone that is in a position where you close your eyes, be comfortable, do so. If you're doing anything that requires your attention, if there's anything that requires you to focus, leave that alone for later. The process will be made available. Well, the replay will be available, but I am also going to take the actual process and separate it. And so you're going to have the full recording, and then you're going to have the separated part of the recording where I will have that recording separately on YouTube and Facebook for you to use without going through all of everything that we've talked about. Now, I do recommend that you put time into re-listening to this whole conversation, because all of this conversation that I am providing or what I'm sharing with you is code activated. Okay? There's a very specific frequency. There's a very specific operating system that is unfolded along the way that you are receiving. This is not just information, it's activation points within yourself. So as much as we're going to do an activational process, that process started from the beginning of this episode. Okay? Every episode is the same. Every episode encodes you. Every episode will provide you what you need. But the thing is, every time you repeat it, every time you go back to any part of it, you will access even more of what's been made available at that time for one reason. And the reason is because you're at a next level of readiness. Okay? Readiness within you. This is why people say, hey, listen, I listened back to your some of your other episodes that you've done, or the podcast or shows that you've done, and I get more out of it, or I get things I never got before. It was there, but you were not ready to receive it. You did not receive the information because it wasn't ready for you to receive it, but at the same time, you weren't ready to receive those codes and those energies, even though they were offered to you. But you needed to go through the stages that you went through to get to that level of readiness where you can get more. And that's where you get more. This has been the case from day one. I've had many people over the years have said to me, wow, how does it happen that there's more each time I listen to it? Well, it's because you open yourself to receive more. And the more that you're receiving is really more alignment that you have within yourself, because what you're doing is triggering your own knowing within yourself along the way. Okay, so after we've done the process, I will address some questions. I've got several pages here that Kimberly has provided me from the previous episodes that we didn't get to. I don't know how many we'll be able to get through at this point in time. I may do another episode. Well, I will do another episode next Tuesday, all working the way I would like to see it work. But what we're going to be doing is that we'll spend more time on the questions. So I'm going to through this later and pick up any questions if I can't get to the ones that are on the chat, because there's two chats, there's a Facebook chat and there's a YouTube chat, and then I've got like 5 pages worth of questions here, and we might run out of time before I can get to the question and answer part of it. All right. So what I want you to do is get yourself comfortable. I am going to make a quick change of things. So I will be back in about a minute or two, and then we'll get started. Now I'm going to adjust the audio accordingly, and I'm also going to record the audio on a separate track here, and I'm going to make available to you a audio file. Oops. I'm going to make available an audio file that you can download and put it on an MP3 player of whatever you choose. Could be your phone, could be whatever, any MP3 player, that you can listen to the process over and over again. So that's going to be my little bonus that I'm going to do, and I will put that link in the comment section and in the description later on, because I have to do the whole process anyways, and then I have to upload it on a server where you can download it. It will be on Hightail, and so you'll click there and you will be able to see the file, and you click the file, it'll download onto your computer, download on your phone, download on whatever you wanted to download, then you can put it in and use it as an MP3. The reason I'm doing that is so that you will have more than different ways to be able to access the recording, because it's going to be very powerful for you to use along the way, specifically the rest of the year as you feel to do so. Now, don't have to say, well, I got to listen to it every 2-3 times a day. If you feel guided to do that, that's great, but don't do it in a way where you say, well, if I don't do it, I'm going to, not be able to receive the benefits from it. So one last thing I wanted to say that I meant to say before, you're going to find that the idea of not controlling, of being fluid, is the part that makes the ease of any changes that are happening with you and others around you. So just kind of flow with it and allow everything to just kind of take their course. You intervene or step up any part of it, but not to control, but to share and to bring, but also allow other aspects. And it doesn't matter if somebody's a child or an adult, it's the same across the board. Okay, great. While I make a couple of quick adjustments, you guys start to make yourself comfortable, and we'll get started on the activation null process. Okay. If you are not doing anything that requires your attention, you can close your eyes and you can focus on your breath. If you are doing something that requires your attention, you can still do the process without closing your eyes, because it will still play a role for you. It's not going to be a waste of time by any means. So, and this applies anytime you choose to listen to this. So you can listen to it while you're doing something else, but preferably you get the opportunity to do it when you're in a quiet space on your own. If you can use a headset, that's even better. If not, you can just put it on and you can listen to it on any audio system at this point in time. It all assists you, because the energies that are going to come in through the process, you will feel that automatically through you at this point in time. And you're going to feel it as it moves through you in a way that will create whatever you're ready to have shift within yourself. All right. So for the ones that can close your eyes and let's put your attention on the breath. Let's put our attention on the beautiful movement and ease of our natural breath. As you breathe in, be fully attentive to the breath as your lungs expand and you feel the movement of the coolness of air that's going in through your nose and traveling into your lungs and expanding your lungs. As you exhale, feel the beautiful release as you're breathing out from the lungs through your nose or your mouth and feeling that warmth that is now gently flowing through. And we're going to be fully present with the whole process of breathing to the point where there's nothing else besides the breath and my voice. As you continue to breathe in and out, each time you exhale, feeling yourself sliding into a deeper and deeper relaxed state. Each time you exhale, feeling also yourself releasing any or letting go any tightness or tension that you may have. You will also breathe out gently any stress and anxiety that you may feel. At the same time, you can breathe out any fear, fight, or flight that you have given power to up to this point in time. Each breath in is allowing very powerful supportive energy and consciousness to enter your presence, your physicality, stimulating you. And as you exhale, you release or flow out of you what no longer serves, and at the same time share higher consciousness within the environment, within the air to assist others. As you continue to breathe in and out, going deeper and deeper, feeling more and more relaxed, going into that state of mind where you are accessing that higher aspect of yourself without the ego dialogue. We now instruct the ego to step aside and not to participate. And as it chooses to try to intervene, we acknowledge its presence, thank it for its role, send it love, and send it on its way back into the field. As we continue to go deeper and deeper, feeling more and more relaxed, we open ourselves up to higher aspects of ourself. We create a beautiful alignment within ourselves. But before we do that, we bring all aspects of ourselves back into this beautiful unit, or what looks like unit we call the physical representation of our holographic self. Therefore, we call in our multidimensional soul to fully embody, to enter and to fully embody, become fully active within our body, within our operating system, within our mind. We now ask our multidimensional soul to activate to the fullest degree that we can utilize that we can hold in this physicality what we call home frequency. This home frequency is the frequency that has been established and achieved in all of the playgrounds that it has allowed itself to play, and all the forms and all the levels of consciousness that it has accessed. The home frequency feels most at home to our highest self. That home frequency is the part of your soul that has this very specific frequency, this very specific state of consciousness that has allowed you to be able to be that multidimensional, limitless being that you are. Able to see that you are not locked in a physical form we call the human form on our planet, which is just a playground. It is free to flow, free to play, free to experience every facet of it. And that is very instrumental for you to harness through this transformation, through this accentuation of our playground and our human experience. We recognize and realize fully and completely that we are spirit, source in creation. So we activate the highest source essence within ourselves. That source essence is that creator essence. The essence that does what it does naturally, that is create and experience itself and advance its creation. And in that process, it observes its creation because it is its own creation. And through observation, it could expand itself as source. Because source is ever expanding, ever advancing. And so that is. So we bring it to the highest source essence that we can harness within our body currently. And more of it will continue to upgrade as we upgrade. We activate all levels of dormancy, of pure love that we have experienced. We dissolve all the veils that have, in one way or another, impeded us or obscured pure love within us. Because we now realize that we are pure love. Pure love is spirit. Spirit is source. Pure love is source. In pure love, everything is one. In pure love, there is no polarity. In pure love, everything is equal. Pure love is self. Experience self in multiple selves. Therefore, we now embody fully and completely pure love. And we navigate through pure love. Pure love dissolves all polarities, dissolves all restrictions, dissolves separation. So we choose to experience pure love to the ultimate degree that we are able right now. we ask our human entity to be fully present and to unlock the wisdom within it, within itself, the gift, the skill sets, the know-how it's gained over the 10,000 years of polarity, the know-how of the first 5,000 years in its natural state, to unlock it all, to fully embody, to be fully present in this beautiful expression here and now. We now ask our innate consciousness, our body innate consciousness, to be fully in its presence, in its natural state, to share the wisdom it has access to, the wisdom gained through every single incarnation, series of expressions and experience that Gaia has to offer. And all sentient beings that also resides to assist us even further. We now allow all the chakras that are still being used at this time temporarily to be aligned, harmonized, unified, to work in absolute alignment. To dissolve all the restrictions and veils that were imposed, to allow fluidity of communication sharing while it's still active, restoring correct rotation and speed, creating a powerful field that is contributing to the overall consciousness of all existence in what we call our human expression. We ask our bodies and its innateness to communicate more clearly with us, to guide us in what will facilitate, to create the perfect environment each moment so that we can flourish in what we call the physical representation. To guide and direct us so that it can reactivate and unlock its true operating system to the degree that it serves us to experience ourselves in non-disruptive or unfunctional state, which we call disease or lack of ease. Unlock the true operating system to the degree we're ready, without impeding in our journey of self-expansion and growth. We now align with all of those channels within ourselves to become one as this expression, to facilitate further, we also start to reactivate more and more our DNA. The DNA, our transmitter's receiver to the species that were the contributors that make up this physical form, the 5 primaries and 7 secondaries, to allow a truer communication and feedback, which will increase the upgrade within ourselves. Our brother, sister soul contributors have continued to evolve, continued to expand. And that is what's being shared. Therefore, all imposed veils that were put in there previously will start to dissolve, opening up the flow more and more. This will also upgrade the genetics. And through the upgrade of the genetics will nullify, shut down, dissolve any unharmonized programs, elements, codes, and operating systems that were induced, projected, and adopted in our journey up to this point. This is still up to us to what degree, but it is carefully monitored and carefully unfolded. As much as we are in the field of source, we now open ourselves to allow more of that highest state of source, which is us, to flow through us, to illuminate us, to upgrade our consciousness, our accessibility, our self-knowing, our self-sourceness. So the field is now supporting us more than ever. We are the field, we are part of the field, and we are experiencing within the field as the spirit that we are, which is the field of creation. We also have been gifted by a beautiful column of light, highest spectrum, filled with spectrums of light, plasmic energy, consciousness, and upgraded codes and operating systems negate what no longer serves, that is being streamed down through us as we open ourselves to receive more of it, to illuminate us even further, to dissolve restrictions, blockages, polarization, older versions of ourselves, denser polarized energies. This is another level of reminder that we are all one. We are all playing together. We are all learning together. We are all growing to new levels of essence. We are choosing to engage much more consciously with our galaxy. which are made up of many, many solar systems, planets, and beings. We choose to receive the most advanced possible and to activate it within ourselves to the degree we're ready, without negating any part of our experience that we are choosing still to support and experience within ourselves. And that is so. We now also open ourselves to receive more of the beautiful, energetic spectrums of light, plasmic energies, consciousness that is coming and beamed down from our sun. Sharing massive amount of wisdom and knowing that is stimulating our own wisdom and knowing, stimulating our essence even further. Each stage has a different viewpoint and perspective. Each one makes up the whole we are. So as that flows through us, further encoding, further activating, further aligning, which facilitates even further purging, further clearing, and further states of being. We have a beautiful, powerful crystal in the center of the earth that is beaming a powerful, energetic, conscious spectrum field of plasmic energy that emanates focal point of fifth dimensional consciousness, fully experientially enriched, radiating from Gaia through us and illuminating us even further as we open ourselves to receive even more and to use it to the degree we are ready. We are ultimately in charge what we use, how we use it, and when we use it. This is never taken away from us because there's nothing to take away from us. We are the one. We now reactivate ourselves to the degree that we are ready. Fully activate to the degree we are ready, that we are source. As source, we are the spirit of source. As the spirit of source, we are a creator. As a creator, we create. We created ourselves. We reshape all realities around us each moment. We have the full freedom how to utilize any part of this creation. We are limitless in our creation. We have created ourselves. We are learning from our creation. We're expanding within our creation. We're becoming more enlightened. Our sourceness expands. We now realign ourselves to our knowing and truth within. We are in a playground. This playground we call Earth, we call Gaia, that has an organic matrix and did have an inverted imposed matrix once before. This organic matrix creates the main software to experience ourselves on what looks like a playground. On this playground, we have the freedom to play, to experience, to flow, to create personal and multiple extended realities, to participate and to take an active role, to flow or to resist. We understand at this time we have chosen to start to flow more and more each day, each moment. Maintain movement and expansion. Our true nature, who we are, has uniqueness, but is also part of the one. Our uniqueness is our expression, our gift, our sharing to this playground with other versions of ourselves. We know that we are all one and there's only us, but we've created multiple facets of ourselves to play with. When we play with other facets of ourselves, we grow much more exponentially. This is why we've created many versions of ourselves on this playground. We have several layers within this playground. We have versions of expressions on all different realms at the same time. Our main focus is here, for this is where we feel we want to put our expression in. We remind ourselves as we activate ourselves that we are stepping up the game. We are dissolving all old versions of ourselves. What we've seen and experienced in the game of life was just that, a temporary game, a temporary observation, a temporary opportunity to experience and expand ourselves. A temporary adoption. All the multiple versions of ourselves we've created were all temporary. There is no need for us to hold on to any facet of it any longer. This is the realization we are now reactivating in ourselves much more clearly than before. we stimulate even further the process that we have started some time ago. And that is to purge and clear everything we defined ourselves, everything that we attached ourselves to, everything we try to control in the illusionary component of it, all the definitions of experiences and of ourselves, everything in one way or another that we have adopted in one facet or another. We are purging all of that. We realize in our organic matrix, we have two playgrounds, organic 3D and organic 5D. What we are purging and clearing is the old versions of ourselves that were adopted, reinforced, and experienced, and in some way encoded ourselves in the inverted matrix, inverted 3D, inverted 2D, where everything was backwards. All of it was a beautiful, grand experience, which does not align with us any longer now. Because we are stepping forward to what we call our new world. The world that exists within ourselves. The world we're unpacking through our own creation, through our own imagination, through our own dream state. As much as we adopted the idea that everything has been already created, imagined, is not something we hold on to any longer, for it no longer serves. Everything we imagine, dream, and create from this moment on is all brand new. This is using the highest state of sourceness, the highest state of consciousness that is ongoing and expanding constantly. It's using the highest vibration and frequency being shared within our planet, solar system, galaxy, and universe. As source and spirit continues to expand, all creations, all representation of these creations, all beingness within these creations are also expanding. With expansion, with further awareness, everything is always growing and new. What we dreamed yesterday was just that, yesterday. Today's dream is even grander. We now activate within ourselves our self-awareness, our self-empowerment, full realization and activation of our knowing that we are a sovereign being, fully navigatable within ourselves. with absolute freedom and non-restrictive. That we have at the tip of our fingers full access to free will, no longer being governed on how to use our free will. We determine every stage of our free will from this moment. We see the game around us as what it is, a game. Everything is being offered, and it's up to us to choose what we are going to accept, consent, apply in our own reality. What we make real and what we don't. It's up to us to see if we want to play still the old role of a victim victimizer. Right and wrong, good and bad, or not. We know that we do not need to repeat any part of it. There's no right, wrong, good, or bad about any part of it. But we choose to play the most highest, upgraded version of this life experience. Any so-called damage, any so-called restrictions that we have imposed or accepted or adopted with ourselves, we now dissolve to the degree we're ready to dissolve. And this will be ongoing until none of it is any longer around within our operating system. We have chosen to be here, free and clear, to have our focus point right here and now. For the very reason we wanted to participate, for the very reason we wanted to play a unique role, for the very reason that our outcome and experience here would be an amazing advancement that we chose to be part of. Many of us are conduits. Many of us are forerunners. But all of us are part of it all. All of us are active contributor in one way or another. All of us are one with everything and expanding to the degree that each individualization, which are signature-based, chooses to experience. All for the whole of one. And that is so. We dissolve all layers of powerlessness, all layers of disempowerment, all layers that we are subject to something else, someone else, or some organization. That we're subject from our dreams, our old fears, our old polarities, our old versions. We dissolve it all. We're no longer subject because we choose to be so. We now activate within ourselves our true nature of fluidity, of playfulness, of self-discovery, of being adventurous, of enjoying the experience, enjoying what we call the challenge. We're only challenging ourselves to reach new heights, new capacities. We say new because it's all new. Everything is new every nanosecond, if time even existed. We play with time, but time is ours to play with. Not that we have to control time. We navigate time. We navigate space. We navigate every facet of experience. As much as we look at the world right now and see all the levels of polarity and accentuation, we choose from this moment on to see it for what it is. A beautiful offering and dance that we have full capacity to decide our participation. We are instructing all playmates around us. We remind ourselves of that. We only play roles for each other. There's no role better than the other. Each role plays a role. It's conducive and is part of the one, which we are all one. True oneness is just that. We're all one. We have chosen to play different roles. We have chosen to put different bands of frequency to play with in these roles. But we're all one. Common goal is to play, to experience, to expand, further enlightenment, to become a grander source essence. We're not stagnant, never have been, never will be. We're infinite beings that combine our signatures to expand even further, to the point where we, at one point or another, whenever ready, whenever that is, to become that sourceness, where everything is everything and nothing is nothing. Because everything is of your capacity of creation. We open our hearts. We shine the sunlight within us. Our life force. We share. We do not deplete. We share. In sharing, we also receive to enforce ourselves. As we share, as we open that luminous part of ourselves, we powerfully transform every facet around us. We harness pure love. We harness oneness, sourceness, and our creative aspect of ourselves to the fullest degree. We're all aligning beautifully and powerfully. Together, we support aspects of ourselves to become grander aspects of self. We remind ourselves at this time we're upgrading the human experience. We're upgrading the playground. We're bringing forth our sourceness more than ever in a conscious way to experience ourselves in human form in what we call the playground Earth. Gaia responds to us with pure love, only creating some accentuation time to time to stimulate and assist us. We give not only permission but instructions on what degree to play. When, how, where. And that is so. We're all working together. We're not separate, even though it may look that way. That's the illusion that we are realizing and dissolving along the way. We are a powerful being. We are the purest sense of source, the purest sense of spirit, which is creation, source in creation. We reactivate that fully, remind ourselves fully, and go out and play. Go out being the genuine self that we are, the uniqueness in the beautiful canvas that we play together within. With our open hearts, with our open essence, refusing, merging with each other, stimulating each other, reminding each other, and aligning our energies to become more powerful co-creators, more crystal clear, more aware, and more tuned to our present stages as we unfold them. And that is so. As our bodies shift, our consciousness shifts, our overall consciousness shift, our mind shifts, those shifts are upgrades. Those upgrades are to align with what we are becoming more of each moment. And that is so. We reactivate within ourselves. We are truly the designer, navigator of our reality and all the multiple realities we choose to engage with. Everything opposite to that is just a projected illusion for us to adopt or not. We know better now that this is all optional, and that is so. We now gently put our attention on the breath, being present with the breath, being present with the body as we focus on the breath, paying attention to the sensation of the breath, to feel the movement of the breath, to observe the flow of the breath, to remind us of the flow of life through the breath. Life is a flow. And as you focus on the breath, being fully present with the breath, just pay attention to the beautiful inhalation and exhalation. Just noticing and acknowledging the rhythm of ease. Reminding you the dance of life being of ease, of fluidity. We're going to use the next 5 breaths to get to the point where we are conscious of our environment, conscious of our awareness of our reality around us, going into an awakened state, to be present wherever we are. After the 5th breath, we can gently open our eyes, be fully present in our environment, noticing our environment more clearly than ever before. Everything that may have been subtle may be fully, more clearly present. But we just allow that to be. So let's put the next 5 breaths as a way to bring to awaken state. After the 5th breath, we gently open our eyes. We will be completely refreshed, wide awake, fully feeling that excitement and that new vibrancy and energy, zest of life, potentialities with no limits, creator unpacking itself. When comfortable, you can gently open your eyes and be fully present of your environment. As I welcome you back, welcome you, the newest version of you, to this playground. The playground we chose to play together. The playground that we chose to co-create. The playground that we are bringing every aspect of our natural state into play. Bringing more of your natural essence, the true you, the pure you, to the playground. Thank you guys for an awesome co-collaborated process that we did to bring forth everything to enhance ourselves more powerfully in this beautiful dance. Know fully and completely that each and every moment we are expanding and growing in it. Each time you repeat this, you stimulate even more of you. Not as a dependency. You that's doing it. This is just supporting you. You're stepping up to the game that you've been preparing yourself for. You're more than this body. You're more than your experience. You're more than what you thought you were. More than all the ideas that you've adopted. More than whatever roles you played with each other. What you have capable of doing is amazing. And you're coming to that realization more and more. I can tell you one thing. You are designing the movie. It's not outside of you. It may look that way, but it's not. You have the back end access. This is why it's so important for you to envision, to dream, and to see this new world within yourself, because it's already in you. It's the template, but the template is expanded along the way. When you focus on that, you're actually changing everything around you. The old world dissolves faster and faster and faster, and the world unpacks quicker and quicker and quicker and becomes more of our playground. Influence is just influence. It's up to us if we utilize those influences. Do we take it in, and do we let those influences govern us or not? We're the ones. We are the ones that decides any part of it, all of it, outside of us in any way, shape, or form. The more you remember who you are, more just majestic, more beautiful, more powerful, you recognize who you are, why you're here, what you're here to do. And that's always changing, upgrading, shifting. You guys are doing it. I'm just with you. I'm working with you. We are doing this together. I love you immensely. I see such beauty in all of us. Such beauty in the human nature. Such beauty on this beautiful playground. The beauty in everything, everything starts to change. Because everything is so magnificent. Has been and always will be. It's so great to see you guys coming and stepping up, bringing forth who you really, really are in this playground. You have such beautiful, amazing consciousness and gifts and experience to share. You share it through your innate consciousness of your body. You share it from your human entity. You share it from your multidimensionality. But you also share it from your overall consciousness, which is the makeup of all of it, blending of all of it. That's before we even address the beautiful DNA of all other versions of ourselves that make up what we see ourselves as form. I know we were going to play with the questions, but we are already at 2 hours and almost 20 minutes now. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to address the questions now. I fully intend to do another episode on Tuesday coming. And during that, unless there's a hot topic that is necessary at this point in time, we'll devote the whole episode on addressing questions. We'll address the questions from other episodes that we have here on the list that Kimberly sent me or put together for me before she headed out. And also ones that are on the chat, which I have to go through and see what they are. So I'll just take them off the chat and put them on a document, and then I will Kimberly will be with us next time around so that she will read the questions and we'll address the answers. The answers are within you. What I share is basically you accessing you. You know, you're seeing it as a separate version of yourself, but it's not. It's you. I'm you. You're me. That's the beauty of it. So anyways, I would say share this with everybody that you feel like you want to share it. It's up to them if they choose to participate or not, learn from it. Like it, dislike it, do whatever you like. comment, and depending on where you are, you can subscribe or access a notification of some sort. Just share it. More and more people that are coming online at this point in time. We do not provide polarization. We bring realization of polarization, because you know that polarization is an illusion. We played with it. It's not really something that actually supports us in where we're going now, the world that we're unpacking. So thank you for that. If you feel from your heart you want to contribute to support our work, to support our move, support any part of it, feel free to do so. In the description is the link for the PayPal. We are intending to set up Stripe and Patreon at some point fairly soon, but right now we only have PayPal. I know Kimberly was working on it with Todd from Zoology, because he had set something up, and I think he was going to see if he can set something up for us. So I do appreciate it. Thank you, Todd, if you're listening to this. You're awesome. And if you're live, you'll know that tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, I get to play with Todd again, and Todd gets to play with me. We get to play together. We have Franco Friday, like people call it. So we'll have another interesting chat and an interesting opportunity to be able to really just take a look at some other things that are going on at the moment. I may have lost connection here at some point or another, looks like. But I think it's all back up now. So there might be a little blip along the way. But I think it held up very well through the whole activational process that we did. So anyways, if you feel like contributing, thank you. For all the ones that have contributed, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You've helped us move through the month of September, and as for we get to see where we get to play, what we do next, and all the things we need to do for our moving. So that's, anyways, again, go out and play, be the awesome you that you are. Access this recording, and don't forget, I will include a video recording of the process separately. That'll probably come out in a few hours, and then an audio recording of it will also be provided at this point in time, so that you can download it from high, and then you can use it to kind of put it on any MP3 player and repeat the process. The process will continue to stimulate what you already are more powerfully each and every time. So until next time, go have a blast, and we'll see you Tuesday. All well, if not, it will be Thursday. But at this point, Tuesday. Bye for now.